if anybody was going to ruin my rims, it was going to be me. Welcome back to the next video in the tire change series. Last week you saw me replace the rear tire on my 2016 Sportster. This week I'm going to be getting this front tire off and replacing it with that one just over there. The front tire here is nowhere near as bad as what the rear tire was. However, I ordered the front and rear matching set, so I'm going to do the front now just so both tires are good. Step one is to remove this nut, and there's a washer in behind it. So I've got my 15/16 socket and a breaker bar. And I'm just going to break the torque on that. Next up, I've got to loosen off this jam nut. Let's see if I can tap this out. Tap on that with. There we go. Alright, so I've got my front wheel pulled off. I got my wheel spacer zip tied on over there, that way I don't lose it. I've got the ABS sensor zip tied here, that way there's no tension being pulled on that wire. And I also put the jam screw and nut in there, that way I don't lose them. Next step is going to be to get this up on the bench and get that brake rotor pulled off. Those bearings feel great. Yeah, that's anti-seize for you. So the next step is to get this tire off this rim and to put this tire and tube on this rim. The tread's quite a bit different, and from what I've read, these Shinkos are actually a pretty hard tire. They take a little while to warm up while you're riding. So in my mind, a hard tire is going to wear a lot better. However, these tires lasted almost 15,000 kilometers. So if these last even half that, I'll be happy. So, part of the video, I'll be back over at my buddy's place using his tools to put my tires back together. So, because the previous owner liked these stupid valve caps, there was a lot of weight on the rims. I just pulled this off the front. I have checked the static balance on these. I've moved this many different ways, and it just stays. So the static balance is fine. I've seen a lot of different opinions on this, and it seems like some people either believe in this method or they don't. I'm not balancing a large volume of wheels, so what I got rigged up here is just 2 jack stands. I got a piece of rod and 2 little pieces of PVC pipe there just to lower the friction. Anyway, the wheel seems to spin in there just fine, and there's no hard spots or nothing. And that'll just sit there and spin for like the next, I don't know, probably 45 seconds. Anyway, the balance is fine on that, so I'm going to be throwing it back on the bike. It says to use new screws. I'm not going to be doing that. I'm just going to reuse the same ones and just putting blue Loctite on them. Torque for that's going to be 16 to 24 foot-pounds. Then I'm going to put a little bit of anti-seize on the inside of the bearing boards and the inside of the hub spacer. It doesn't say anything about the actual axle itself right here in the blown up version. There's still a lot of grease on that, so I'll just leave that be. And it says that there's a little rubber indexing pin on the bottom of the ABS sensor there, and just make sure that that's on the bottom of the fork slider. Then I'm just going to shove the axle through, and then I'll get ready to torque it. Break those bolts. Don't be crazy though. Start torquing stuff up. Manual's calling for this to be 60 to 65 foot-pounds. 65 foot-pounds. Manual's calling for this to be 21 to 27 foot-pounds. I got my torque wrench set to 25. There you go, 25 foot-pounds. This front tire is definitely a little bit wider and a little bit taller than the stock one. However, we're clearing that fender just fine. That sound is just the new brake pads rubbing on the disc. So, only one thing left to do. Now that both tires are done, I'll drop her down, take her for a quick little spin around the neighborhood, and then that'll be good. So here's a closer look of just how little space there is in there. These tires, like the size difference wasn't very much, but thank God they weren't anymore. Otherwise, that would not have fit. So there it is. That's how you change your tires in your garage. Although I used 2 garages, I didn't have to pay a shop to do anything. Normal shop rate here is usually somewhere around $100 to $150 an hour. It took me like an hour to do each wheel. So in my mind, I saved about $240. However, at a professional shop, they probably could have had both done really quick. But in my mind, if anybody was going to ruin my rims, it was going to be me. So I'm quite pleased with the way that that everything went. The test ride was fine. The wheels felt great. So that should be it for now. Thanks for watching.